Say, how about Hubert Creighton?
Creighton? Creighton? Oh, you mean the political boss?
Harry, if we could get his teeth...
No. Never mind about his teeth, but he does swing a lot of weight in this town, doesn't he?
Exactly what I mean. He could put you up for alderman like that if he liked you.
Alderman? You know, I just might give that a pitch. Yeah. I'll call him first thing in the morning.
Get him tonight. He'll be at your house.
My house?
The Garden Club. He's a bug on that stuff.
This is Talkback. Our drama for this program is called The Absolutely Genuine You. Our guest is Mrs. Henry Cannon, better known in the entertainment world as Minnie Pearl. Later, Dr. Ross Snyder and Mr. Merle Emery will be asking Mrs. Cannon questions raised by our play.
It's the simple, normal human urge for self-realization. I imagine you've felt that urge at one time or another, eh? Of course, everyone has. Question is, do you feel fulfilled? Spit it out. I imagine you'd answer that question with either, well, yes, I'm pretty satisfied with my life the way it is, or no, I feel unfulfilled. I imagine most people would answer it either one way or the other, don't you?
Why?
My problem is I don't even know if I'm fulfilled or not. Now, what do you think of that? Yes, but the thing is that I think it worries me because I feel that a man should know either one way or the other. I mean, are you fulfilled or are you not fulfilled? You see, this all started with me, back a few months when I suddenly realized that I was about to become 40 years old. And something was missing. I was doing pretty well professionally and all that, but what was it? Was I really the man I wanted to be?
If I were asking you to fly to the moon, it's your lawn as much as it is mine. It certainly wouldn't kill you to be here for just one meeting of the Garden Club. I know how you feel about the club. And I'll admit, I sometimes feel we don't get an awful lot done. Oh, if you would just stay home tomorrow night instead of hiding at the bowling alley, at least you'd know what the gardening problems are. Harry.
Okay. Who am I? What am I?
Oh, dear, we're on that again. Right now, I could tell you what I think you are. But that would just lead to an argument, and I'm not in the mood.
Oh, but really, I mean really, Kay. It seems to me a man can never find self-fulfillment until he knows exactly who he is and what he is, so he can fulfill whatever it is he is. You see what I... Well, so that's the question. Who am I?
You're Harry Little. You're my father.
Yes, but what else?
Partners with Dr. Gadsby in the dentist business.
Dental profession. And what else?
That's all.
But is it? I mean, maybe I could be something so much more than that. If only...
What?
If only I could realize my full potential. Know who I really am.
You're Harry Little. You're my father.
Thanks a lot. We've had that.
You ask me, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. The only way to self-fulfillment is to be yourself.
Exactly. But sometimes I think I'm somebody else every day. Now, if I could just settle down and
be just one thing. I mean, even if it turned out that I was just a real dull clod, at least I could concentrate on being that real dull clod, and that would be self-fulfillment, wouldn't it?
For heaven's sakes. The real you.
That's the problem.
What? No, it's this test in the Standard News. Some are leaders, some are followers. Each contributes greatly to the greatness of our country. Which are you?
Let me see.
Today, the Standard News presents the latest scientific test designed by psychologists to make it possible for you to determine in the privacy of your own home what your natural role in life is. Just answer the following
exactly
question.
what I've been talking to you about.
I think it's silly. How can they tell you what you are if you don't know yourself?
Yeah, let me see that. Let me see. Oh, those scientists. Gee, they do wonderful things. Listen, have you got a pencil?
Well, there should be one in the drawer.
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing that they should print this just when I need it most? Where's that pencil? Oh, here it is. Now look, would you do this test for me? Please, here's the pencil. You do it. I mean, I want to be absolutely fair about this. I think this is very important.
Oh, my goodness. All right, we'll see.
I think this may be a turning point in my life.
But this is just a test in the
Please.
Standard News.
Please.
We'll see. Question 1. Do you always tell the truth?
Truth. Nearly always.
They just have yes or no.
Yes or no? Well, in that case, yes. Second question?
Did you ever want to get even with somebody?
Oh, yes.
Who?
Is that in the test?
No.
Next question. It was a pretty long test, and some of the questions were pretty strange. But you can't really argue with science, can you? And when Kay finally added up the score...
360 points.
Is that good?
Anything over 300 means... Oh, wait a minute. You are aggressive, dynamic, enthusiastic, and bold. The qualities that go to make up a leader of men. You?
Kay. This is it. This is it. For the first time in my life, I really know where I'm going. A leader of men. Isn't it wonderful how they can figure that out from just a simple test?
Wonderful.
Oh, it's a marvelous age we live in, where a man's sense of achievement is limited only by his own vision and courage. Isn't it
Marvelous.
Well, I felt like a million, because now I was in a position to become the man I was always intended to be, and had the scientific facts to prove it. I felt like a new man.
Harry, I can't get over you.
How's that, Orrin?
You're a new man.
Not a new man, Orrin. Just a man who's found himself and intends to fulfill his potential.
Tell me something. Did you ever think of going in for politics?
Politics? Politics? You mean run for political office? No, but certainly an idea.
Be good for business. You get to meet a lot of people.
Well, I hadn't thought of it that way. But it would be a chance to serve. And man can ask for little more than that, can he?
Personally, I never asked for any more than I've got. Except maybe a few more patience. And I've got my eye on a sports car that... Say, how about Hubert Creighton?
Creighton? Creighton? Oh, you mean the political boss?
Harry, if we could get his teeth...
No. Never mind about his teeth, but he does swing a lot of weight in this town, doesn't he?
Exactly what I mean. He could put you up for alderman like that if he liked you.
Alderman? Alderman? You know, I just might give that a pitch. Yeah. I'll call him first thing in the morning.
Get him tonight. He'll be at your house.
My house?
The Garden Club. He's a bug on that stuff.
The Garden Club?
Be a great chance to meet him socially, impress him with your personality.
At the Garden Club?
Harry, if you could just get Creighton's teeth.
Acted on a motion by Mrs. Simpson, which was referred to the Compost and Mulch Committee for further study and report. There was then a discussion of the health of our humus, but since no motion was made...
Which, in my opinion, would lead only to stagnation and decay. Unless, of course, the whole project were taken over by men of vision and courage and thereby put on a paying business-like basis.
By George, you're right. You know, I like your ideas.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Creighton. Incidentally, I was sure that a man like you would sympathize with my position.
More than that, I'm with you all the way.
Well, that's very gratifying, Hubert. Incidentally, I understand that there is a vacancy in the position for alderman, and I just thought that I might...
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Now we will turn to new business. If you will all kindly take chairs.
Here's two.
Oh, good.
I was just telling your husband he's the kind of man we've been looking for. I like his ideas.
That's nice.
And I want you to know I have enjoyed every minute of it. But now it is time to pass the torch on to new hands. I throw the floor open to nominations.
While they're doing this, Hube, I wonder if we might go back to that discussion we were having now. If there is an opening, I just might be available.
Excuse me a minute. I want to get into this.
Oh, sure.
I said you were my man. I meant it. Madam President, I'll make this short and sweet. We have among us a man ideal for the job, and I'd like to see him elected by acclamation. I nominate for president of this organization for the coming year a leader among men, Dr. Harry Little.
Me?
I move that nomination cease and Dr. Little be elected by acclamation.
I second the motion.
You have all heard the motion. Those in favor, please raise your right hands. Opposed? It is unanimous. I instruct the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for Dr. Harry Little.
What I really wanted was to talk to you about the nomination for alderman. You know, the open spot on the ticket.
Oh, that. We're running Waldo Kittredge. Not much push, Waldo, but solid, dependable.
Oh.
There's no sense in carrying on like this. All I said was, if you're going to be a leader of men, you've got to start somewhere.
Look, I don't even like the garden club. I'll go out of my mind being president of those women for a year.
Leadership has its burdens as well as its rewards.
Rewards? I'm not looking for rewards. I'm looking for self-fulfillment. What kind of self-fulfillment am I going to find leading the fight for the purple petunia, for crying out loud? I'd be better off not being a leader at all.
You're not.
Right. What?
You're the other, whatever that is. Mother added up the score wrong.
I did?
Yes, you counted all the yes answers instead of the no answers.
Oh, dear.
Then I'm not the leader type?
Nope.
But how can that be? I mean, I was elected because of my leadership ability. Mr. Creighton said so, and he kept saying it.
What's the other thing they use, Judy?
I don't know. Let's see. It says, you are stable, reliable, honest. You have skill, accuracy, steadiness, and a capacity to do repetitive work. That is the real you.
Stable, reliable, honest, huh?
Aren't you taking this too seriously, dear?
Well, that sure makes me look like a real dull clod.
Oh, Harry, you're doing fine. And if success is the whole measure, you have a pretty narrow idea of self-fulfillment, haven't you?
But I gotta be true to myself, haven't I? And if this is it, well, I mean...
Oh, darling. I think it's great that you want to be a better person. But you're quite a guy right now. That's important, too.
Judy, what was the real me again?
You are stable, reliable, honest. You have
Skill, accuracy,
steadiness, and a capacity for repetitive work. Spit it out. Well, if that doesn't describe what I do here, what does, eh? So this is it. This is the real me after all. So I really ought to feel fulfilled. But I don't really. And if I don't, am I or am I not? Fulfilled, I mean.
Well, I enjoyed that very much, but I couldn't help thinking how stupid that fellow is to try to find out who he is by going around and collecting other people's opinions of him.
I know that wouldn't be his real him, would it?
I am wondering from this if perhaps this is a symbol. Could this be us running to a psychiatrist, to tests, to magazines looking for ideas? Do you think we do too much of this, perhaps?
Oh, I think probably we do. It's to shift the responsibility from ourselves, isn't it?
Well, isn't it partly because we never have really experienced ourselves, so we just have ideas and what other people tell us we are, and you're not really sure that you do have a self?
Well, I always figured, though, that if you were busy enough that you didn't have to figure out what the real you was.
You were just busy experiencing yourself.
I mean, if you have time enough, to take off and spend any time worrying about what's the real you better get back to work.
Well, but on the other hand, a lot of people keep so busy they never do discover who they are.
Well?
Yeah?
Is it necessary that we actually ascertain to ourselves which is the real you? I mean, what have we achieved? We work all of our lives, of course, toward a goal, but I don't know. I always shied away from wanting to know what the real me was.
Well, could it be possible that when we find out what we really are, or who we really are, it kind of helps us to get some idea of what makes life really worthwhile? Could this be important?
I think we should be more concerned about where we're headed than who we are. I mean, the goal is more important than establishing. Well, I mean, in trying to achieve a goal, don't we in that way establish the real you?
Well, let me put it in this fashion. At least I do, and I think you do too. As I meet people, I sort of divide them into phony people and people that are real.
Well, haven't we've used that word real so much. It always makes me wonder what it really is. The real person. Is that the person who is unimpressed by trivialities?
Partly. The person who doesn't have to put up a pretense of being something he isn't.
I guess so.
Who doesn't go around trying to find out what other people think of him and then he knows what to think about himself.
I guess so. But the pitiful part about this man was, he wasn't actually establishing what was the real you. He was trying to find out, as I said, from other people, which didn't mean that it was anything.
Let's take a look at you for just a minute. We happen to know that at one time you had the aspiration for being a missionary.
Yes.
Now, do you think you could have found the same fulfillment in being a missionary that you have found in the life that you now lead?
I don't know whether I could have or not. Underneath all this urge which I had to want to be a missionary, or rather to want to do good, which so many of us have, I still had a strong streak of wanting to show off. And I don't think that would have worked as well with being a missionary. I would have still wanted to make people laugh even if I were a missionary, because I've been doing that all my life, either consciously or unconsciously.
Well, is there any question in your mind then as to about who you are?
Well, I may be entirely mistaken, but to me, from being reared in a Christian home by Christian parents, and born and raised and brought up in the Methodist Church, and having a a father and a mother who gave me a sense of security from the time I was born, and I never will be able to be grateful enough to them for that. I feel that in my prayers and in my faith in God, I believe that He has led me to do what I was supposed to do. I think that if I was supposed to have been a missionary, He would have turned my footsteps away from show business into that channel.
I think it's very helpful, he said to us, that maybe the major answer to this question is the answer, what are you doing with your life? And when you found this, you should have an answer.
Yeah, it sort of came to me now when I first started in show business and being a clown. It used to be in my mind, I used to think, well, this is just a stopover.
Mm-hmm.
This job as Minnie Pearl is just a sort of a stopover from going into something else. And then, I don't know, it was just as if I were led to stay here, to stay in this. And then in the last, say, 10 years, the last half of my 20 years, more and more it has become I felt that this was what I was intended to do from the very start. And it's just been it's just as if I relaxed and didn't struggle anymore to try to be a dramatic actress or a missionary, or the things that young girls, as they come along, they have one or two things they think of, they're alternatives and all that thing. But this just seemed to me to be what I was supposed to do, and I've been very happy, very relaxed. I never have questioned it anymore. Although some of my friends and some of my family have questioned it, because they thought, that I had. Now I realize, see, that God in His great wisdom turned me from being either one of those two things because I was not prepared to do either one of them as I would be prepared to come in between. This is in between, see.
But there's a rightness for you in what you're doing.
Yes, I feel that way.
Yeah.
You mentioned the part that your parents played in your early planning of your life. What part does your mother still play?
Oh, she plays a very important part. Mother's 87, and she's a very fine person. My father was, too. As I said, I never can. And I always think when I see parents who take their parenthood so apparently take it lightly, I don't know if they do or not, but they give that impression. I always think, oh, my goodness, what a responsibility it is to give a child a background. My happiness that I knew at home, all of my family, we were always happy. My father and mother never said a cross word to each other in front of us. Isn't that marvelous? That took a lot of doing.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
They always presented us with a solid front. They never disagreed, they never had, and if they ever had any crosswords, which I'm sure they did because they were very normal, they never let us hear it. And I always thought they loved each other, which they did, and I always thought that everything's going to be all right. And to give a child a feeling that everything's going to be all right. And in the night when I would wake up and Mother would say, it's all right, honey, it's all right. Everything's all right. How many times I heard that, and when there was a storm, Mother never showed it, nor Daddy, neither one of them ever showed any fear. These are real important things as you look back on them, aren't they?
Well, now, speaking as a man who tries to understand a little bit about religion, there's a fellow named Kierkegaard who a number of years back said the only way you could cease being a whole lot of different people and become the single person, that is, the one person, was to live with a sense that you were living before God and responsible only to Him and to nobody else.
Yes, that's the ideal situation.
This is ideal. This makes sense to you.
Yes, because then you're not frustrated and not bothered by the feeling that you must account to somebody else rather than take too seriously their opinion.
Now, when you said ideal, you mean actually we do take other people's opinions seriously.
Well, we do. We have to. But I feel sorry for people like the dentist in this drama. I feel sorry for him because he will go through his life, I'm afraid, unless he establishes some sort of now his religion, it seems to me, could help him there.
He doesn't have a religion, I don't think.
Certainly not.
Because that's what the religion is for, to me. My religion.
A center of some kind.
To give you a reason, a center, and also to bring you joy. Mm-hmm. to make you happy.
But since he doesn't know who he is and has to go around asking everybody else, he obviously doesn't have any real fundamental relationship to God that he can count on.
No, and that's where he, now probably, if he took the garden club seriously and became a good president of the garden club, it might sort of, at least momentarily, establish him as the figure he wanted to be.
But he still might, yes, this might be a phony self still. Well, now there's another fellow in the field of religion who says to be the single one means you have to be sensitive to what each person is uniquely in the particular moment that you meet them, and not have any pictures in your mind of what they are like or what previously you think of them, but you've got to be sensitive enough to respond to them as they are as of this particular moment. Does this make any sense to you?
Oh, that's pretty involved.
It's involved.
Yes, unless you would say that you'd have to have a great deal of perception to be able to do that.
Yes.
You know, that brings something to my mind. People have said that Will Rogers, who is one of my, I'm one of his, I just admired him tremendously. I think he had one of the greatest senses of humor. And he was a great person. He was a great tear down of phoniness and subterfuge and superficiality. He went right straight to the heart of things. You know, he said, I never met a man I didn't like, and that's been misquoted so much because they say, I never knew a man I didn't like. He didn't say, I never knew a man. He said, I never met a man, which he gave everybody the benefit of the doubt until he knew them, which is what we all should do.
Do you think there's any danger of us finally finding ourselves and realizing who we are?
And not liking it.
And not only not liking it, but maybe becoming quite self-satisfied.
Oh.
And then what do we do?
Well, then we move over into the egomania, and we get into trouble there. I think that the dentist, going back to the dentist, he bothers me because, as I think I said before, I've known people that have said that very thing. You know, it's a form of melodrama, of course, because this drama was hammed up, as we say, but at the same time...
He also enjoys watching himself do this melodrama.
Yes, he sees himself doing that. And to himself he becomes deeper and more exciting by...
Important.
Yes.
Significant.
Yes.
He's got himself on his hands all the time.
As my husband says, he can't get over himself. Yeah.
This discussion isn't finished until you have thought through to your satisfaction the questions which Dr. Snyder, Mr. Emery, and Mrs. Cannon have been considering. Perhaps you will want to continue to think and talk about the issues which Talkback is raising. Talkback is a public service program presented by this station and the churches of your community. It was produced in cooperation with the National Council of Churches as a contribution of the Methodist Television Ministry.